Now we're going to take and address section 6.7, hit and run. Now, hit and run is very similar to assault movement. It even has the -2 to fire power penalty that assault movement does. So let me take, and as an example here, we're going to take our little motorcycle and we're going to throw it on the other side of this wall from these airborne units that are tucked into this building. Now, what hit and run is just like an assault move. You could take and move up to half your movement point allowance and fire. The difference is that you can fire at any point during that half movement point allowance. So let's say our motorcycle wants to conduct a hit and run. They've got a movement factor of 20. They could move 10 movement points and fire at any point along that trail that they wanted to. And then afterwards they would be marked, obviously, with a hit and run marker. Now, a single man counter, like we stated before, that was stacked with the mounted unit, they could ride along with and perform the hit and run action just like if they were mounted. So they could take and perform this action against the airborne right there with them. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, well, since they're doing all this movement, can they be op fired against? Well, that's actually going to be addressed here in 6.8, op movement. So let's take and reset our little situation here. Op movement, if a unit is not marked with pretty much any of the markers, it can have a moved, hit and run, fired, ops complete, assault move, basically any of them, then it can conduct an op movement. A op movement is like an op fire. So any point that you could conduct an op fire is when you could take and conduct an op movement, and you would basically use a hit and run action as an op movement. But you are subjected or able to be subjected to op fire yourself. All right, I know that sounds complicated, but let's break it down here as a quick example. It's the American unit's impulse. He spends a movement point. The motorcycle unit decides to take and perform an op movement. He does his hit and run action, and he swings around here to fire. He fires upon the American unit here, and then he wants to take and continue moving down here. Well, this unit could take an op fire on them before they continued, and as long as they were not shaken in the process, they could continue their movement. They would be marked with a hit and run marker and a fired marker once they were done. And then obviously all units that fired at that point would be marked as fired. And if this unit were not shaken, then they would continue. So op movement using mounted units basically gives you the chance to take and have a lot of back and forth and catch your opponent by surprise. It can be a neat thing to use against them, but just make sure you follow the steps slowly, step by step, and you won't have any problems with it.